Yes, what's going on, people? Raps on TV, back again. Sunday morning, the morning after the fight. Looking forward to chopping this one up today. Before I go on here with my co-host Sam, and we have a special guest, Mr. Savage Dan. Or Dan Savage, which one is it?
Dan Savage, Dan.
So listen, appreciate you coming on the show today. We're going to chop it up a little bit, talking boxing. We saw some big fights last night. Usyk, Chisora, Tank Davis, Santa Cruz. But I think that probably the biggest bombshell is this news from Deontay Wilder, and I really want to get into that before we go. I mean, there's a host of things that he's talking about, excuses, egg weights in the glove, Mark Breland throwing in the towel too early, spiking his drink, blaming the ref, Tyson Fury scratching him with his gloves. I mean, guys, what do we think about this?
You have to question whether he's okay. What's actually going on? Has he not taken this loss seriously? Has he actually not acknowledged that he's a one-way fighter?
There's no other 5 stages of death.
Yeah, exactly. There's no way of him to, he needs to just change. I just don't think that's a good excuse. I think talking about Mark, someone who's been by his side through thick and thin, and then just saying that all these things, it's just quite distasteful, and not someone who's held probably one of the most prestigious belts to be saying, regardless if that even is true. Doubt it.
I just think he's lost it, man. He's lost it. I lost will do this to man.
Yeah.
But he was always like you never really knew what Deontay Wilder you was gonna get even before that fight, before the loss. It would just, you could get one that's gonna wild out. You can get the calm one that speaks well, and I just think
you get the twerking Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, exactly. Get me? This one, he's just been tipped over the edge now, and he's looking everywhere. I don't even know what egg weight is, if I'm totally honest. What's egg weight?
It's like, when boxers are shadow boxing, it's like this little, it's like, I'll say like a stone, but it's for you to it makes your hands a bit heavier in that sense.
But what I'm saying,
how does that fit in a glove?
Not even how does it fit in. We're going on like he's just had a fight outside the pub. This is like, that was in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
Nevada State, they're not playing any games. You know that you're meant to have your guy in there when he's wrapping his hands. These gloves should have been expected the day before, this day.
Yeah.
All like this. There's no egg weight.
There's nothing in the glove.
You see what I'm saying? There's no egg weight in the glove. We can pretty much get rid of that one.
Yeah.
The spike in his drink, he's put that on his own trainer.
Yeah.
That you got. Why?
Nice.
Why?
Yeah.
You get me?
And the thing is, Breland's the only real boxing guy with credibility. That's his stamp.
Yeah.
Like Olympics, won titles. You're thinking,
yeah, of course.
I don't know. He's done, man. Like not done, but I'm saying like
not far.
He's done with that team, and he seems to be burning a lot of bridges. But boxing in general doesn't like this talk. Take your loss.
Yeah.
If there are excuses, you're gonna have to articulate them well.
Yeah.
Because you see when you put your fingers and say you spiked me, you cheated, you called everyone a cheat. Basically, is what he's done.
Yeah,
no.
Boxing don't like that. Boxing struggles with integrity as it is. You get me? Like, it don't need this.
Exactly. It doesn't need this. And I think just to speak on that point, it's like at some point it's like everybody's at fault apart from the individual. So we know the initial thing was the costume. That was like in the first 48 hours of the loss. And then he went silent, more or less. So then I'm just a bit at a loss that he's now come out on tape and made these wild accusations. I'm like, hang on a minute, so it's nothing to do with your fundamentals, like the skills that you have. And it's all about the ref. Fury put me in a headlock and the ref didn't do anything. And older boxers are saying to me, you've got old man, you got hoodwinked. And I'm like, dude, how do you learn? Like, how are you going to learn to be able to avenge this defeat if you're just making excuses?
Yeah, he doesn't want to learn though. He doesn't. Yeah. I think he's just in denial. He just felt, for him to make those kind of excuses up. And by the way, the fact that he said he kind of fixed his weights or whatever, you've forgotten this is on his soil.
Yeah.
You've forgotten that he was not meant to be favoured. You've forgotten that he's even lucky to have gotten a draw in the first fight with Tyson Fury. So I don't understand when he's talking about unfair this and how people have treated him. He's got a lot of he's had his fair share of special treatment.
Well, he's had loads, even in the Tyson Fury first fight. Everyone knows that is not a draw. I don't even know how anyone can make a case for a draw.
Yeah.
But they did it. And Tyson Fury was just like, You see what I'm saying?
He just said because
he said forget it. I did it again. That's it. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But it's not. He's a sore loser, but it don't matter how many times he fights Tyson Fury, he'll lose every time.
Well, this is the thing,
Yeah.
and just going back to that point when with the first fight, right? So even the accusation in the first fight is that Ricky Hatton did something to the glove, and he's got a video, and literally the source of the video is like a video that one of us would have made. Like one of us have made a video as a conspiracy theory, and big old Deontay Wilder's there promoting it. And I'm thinking to myself, like, where's your logic?
The wrist did look floppy though.
It does look a bit,
but that's how he jabs. But he's just maybe just got a very. But it did look floppy.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I don't think any of that's real.
That's what I was going to say.
But it does look like especially slow mo.
It looks a bit warring.
Yeah,
right? But that's what I mean. You could anybody that's a tech wizard could probably change it. I mean, look at this election that's going on. Like
100%.
Right, so anything could be manipulated. But I think now what's going to happen is that now he's publicly said it. Probably we're going to get Sky Sports picking it up. You know what I mean? The bigger platforms picking it up. Whether they're going to question it, I don't know. But I just think even if all of that was true and you felt that you could beat Fury, I would just be like, keep quiet. Maybe because I'm old school. I'm like, keep quiet, friggin' work in the gym, and then come out, beat him, and then say...
If you think that's why you lost, then you want to almost keep that a bit of a secret.
Right.
Because you know the reason is he had an egg weight. I'll make sure that doesn't happen. I was spiked. I'll make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? These are all the reasons. Just keep it. Yeah, just keep it stum. But I don't think we'll see that third fight.
Yeah, it's going to be tough now.
I think it's done. I think it's completely done. I even think Fury's just like, look at the way I embarrassed you. I don't need to fight you again.
Yeah.
I've got Joshua here. I've got all these other fights here, and do you know what? He showed his hand. So bring on AJ Fury.
And it is a shame though, because like barring all these silly excuses, I do think he could work and get back like next year, and potentially he'll face the winner of Fury versus Joshua. But now you're looking at it, like who's like you're saying, boxing's it's fickle in all sense. But like if you do something that's underhanded and the community don't respect you, like you're gonna struggle.
Yeah.
You're going to struggle to get back in now. At the moment, Ed Frank Warren doesn't owe Wilder a favour. Eddie Hearn definitely doesn't owe him any favours. So how are you going to get a world title shot? Yeah. It's just...
Yeah, you're on your own little kind of PBC island. That you see what I'm saying? There's no other belts there.
There's no belts there. So it's like you're going to fight Andy Ruiz. I mean, for me, that's just poor. And I do have to say this as well.
It's a good fight, though. Not a poor fight.
No,
I like Andy Ruiz. I think
he's tough, man.
Yeah. He's a tough guy. But for me, I think with Wilder, I just think the way you're dealing with Breland, I just think... And even more so because, Wilder likes to talk about his pro-black. And look, I'm all for that. Yeah, but it's like the one guy that is a professional that saved you, really, you're now kind of just totally throwing him under the bus.
Yeah, no, it's just a joke.
Because what do you think that this... Wilder says he wants to die in the ring. I mean, do you think that's just foolish talk?
I just
what's your thoughts on that in general?
I think it's all fun and games until the whole industry gets hit with something like that, and the whole industry has to stop.
Yeah.
We have to stop and they, acknowledge this, and questions are going to be asked about boxing and things, and that's when all the sponsors and stuff go down the hill, man. That's when we stop making our money. It's when we stop doing all this stuff,
It's a sport. Like that. It's a sport. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not a fight to the death. When people die, it is unfortunate. It's like if it was avoidable, everyone would avoid it. And boxing does its best to walk that kind of tightrope of making it dangerous enough for it to be like tantalising for the fans, but safe enough so that it's safe enough you don't die in there.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, look, when it's all said and done, he's got kids. You don't want to die in there. But it is boxers are complex creatures, man. And he'll say it, he wants to die in there, he's willing to die in there, and he'll mean it. Yeah. He won't really mean it, because he won't mean it tonight when he's doing bedtime stories with his daughter. But I'm saying, for that moment when you switch on and you become the bronze bomber, you're like, I'll go out on my shield. That's what. But no one really wants to go out on their shield. There's nothing fun about getting carried out.
I don't want to see that though. I actually wouldn't want to see that.
And he's got like 7, 8 kids, so no matter what, like the level he's operating at, like he's putting food on the table, like hard.
And ultimately, a referee's job is to watch and keep a close eye on this fight and work out when the fight's been kicked out of you, but nothing else gets kicked out of you. Just the fight. You know what I'm saying? So his trainer threw in a towel, in my opinion, maybe around late.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like I'm just watching on TV, but it looked from quite early on. Yeah. He has nothing else to offer this fight except a beating, and there's no point. Just Why?
Fight
No
another
point
day.
making him suffer. Yeah, that's
This is
it.
it. And I think, going back to that, because he's in one of the interviews, he said the only interview, he's now talking about, I just didn't feel well. And I'm just like, well, just say you felt sick. And the reason why I say that is because if you remember, look, Joshua lost to Ruiz.
Yes.
It's quite documented that during the corner, he's saying, why am I feeling like this? But not after the fight did Joshua say anything. And I always
Respect
I always held up Joshua, even at the time, the morning of after the loss, I said, listen, everyone's going to come for Joshua, but trust me, he's moving like a man.
Yeah.
He's just no excuses. He said the better man won. And then for months, he got slaughtered because what? He just said the better man won.
Yeah.
And you're looking at Wilder's weight, and I'm just like, he's bad.
Yeah.
He's bad. It's
Bro,
awful.
even people on the Fury bandwagon now, they're all saying that I don't like Josh. I've never been put off a boxer as much as I have him. But that loss, he handled it. No excuses, no anything. And do you know what? I'm excited about this new documentary he might be having coming out next year, because he done his management 258. They signed a production deal,
Yes.
and they're doing something next year with Netflix or Amazon to do behind the scenes of Joshua. So it'll be really interesting to find out.
We just want to see what took place in Miami, man. Miami gets there the best of us, bro.
Roland Loud was around the time he was training. I think he hit Roland Loud.
It was the day Rolling Loud was just after. I think.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
I think I think AJ was out there.
That was in New York. Rolling Loud was in New York, no?
There was definitely a festival.
Rolling Loud was in New York.
Okay,
It was the day after. It was the Sunday. It was the day after the fight.
Yeah,
Okay.
But I just remember his training camp in Miami. So I think of him, thinking of David here. I'm like, listen, Miami is a place that everybody's going to struggle to concentrate. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know how these guys do it in Vegas, but again, I guess Vegas is a bit more secluded.
Vegas is like desert.
Because you've got the strip.
Desert strip.
And you've got to move. So moving on from that, last night we also saw Usyk versus Chisora. Love to hear you guys' thoughts on that. It went to a decision. I'll start with you, Sam. Do you think it would go to a decision?
Do you know what? I actually wanted Chisora to knock him out just to put a spanner in the works. And so I was thinking, this is all bad, bro. I really wanted Derek to knock him out, because Derek's story is just how he just keeps coming back after a loss and hey and everything. But you know what? He impressed me. He didn't make me feel that he's done. I think he's still got a lot to give the heavyweight scene. And Usyk, I'm half impressed. Reason why I'm half impressed is that you'd expect someone of his level and amateur pedigree to be able to just wipe the floor with Derek Chisora. But if you want to be that elite, like you're talking, how you want to mirror how you became undisputed in a cruiserweight, you should be steamrolling through someone like Derek. Not from a technical perspective, but in terms of power. You need to bang him. And Derek's only been knocked out a few times. So if you'd have knocked him out, then I would have said, do you know what, he's actually here to kind of stay. There's still some questions surrounding him, but all in all, you've got to take into consideration COVID, all this other kind of stuff going on. So he's not an exciting fighter for me. The way he kind of moves, it just doesn't make me want to.
It wasn't an exciting fight, was it?
It's not. It wasn't exciting, but it's what if you know Usyk, you know that's what you're getting. It's the same when people watch Mayweather fight and be like, oh no, that fight was boring. I was like, do you even know what you came here to watch? Only sweet science. So Usyk, even though I thought he did hurt Chisora a couple of times, I can't tell if Derek was doing possum. You know what I'm saying? But I remember him getting caught maybe in around 7 or something like that. And Derek kind of backing off a little bit, and I thought, is that a signal, or is that him trying to draw him onto him? But Derek, obviously, look, he said, I can't box. No point in me boxing this guy, innit? It's just a slow death. I may as well give it a go and just fight him. You see what I'm saying? And just drag it in. And for 3 rounds, it looked like, how is Usyk going to turn this around?
Yeah. And I think, but just on that, I think I was actually surprised Chisora would last the full 12 rounds. I think you're talking about the first 4 rounds, he was really kind of just chasing him around the ring. Obviously, he wasn't setting any traps, but he was just trying to apply pressure. But even up until the 10th, 11th, he was still kind of following him around. I just think Usyk's smarts were always there for us all to see, right? So he would jab, then he'll pivot, then he'll throw a right, then he'll just pivot again. And I think Chisora just couldn't cope with that. He just couldn't close the distance between the two of them,
and it was the speed as well. He's got cruiserweight speed, so you knew he was going to chop down the left hand like Derek knows if I throw, the chances are there's 2 or 3 on their way, like
100%.
fast. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Literally, as soon as he would swing, or it was that big,
big right overhand,
and then he moves. So
for Usyk, it's an easy fight in theory to train for because you know there's no real trap setting.
Yeah.
There's no real speed. There's
no
power.
No insides.
But it's gonna be quite crude, and it will probably if he manages to have any like good spots in the fight, it will be through an overhand right. So there's certain shots you know to look out for with Chisora. As long as you keep relaxed, should see them. So even the ones he got clipped with.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he saw them the split second before they landed, his body just had the air. That's it.
Exactly. I think if it was totally out of surprise, you might have seen it.
You'll get his Spilker, like what he did to Spilker.
Exactly. Or even Takam as well, right?
Price.
Especially.
He's deadly in that regard. But no, shout out to Haydo. I think he deserves a bit more credit.
He's got to be salesman
in terms of David Hay. Do you know what? When he kind of fell off, it was when I started seeing Bellew and how he's just able to promote and just because he's so deluded. Do you know, like when he's got something on his mind, he's just like, "Yep, this is what I'm going to do. This is how it's going to happen." It's like. Do you know how he just talks and the confidence? You're just like, you just gotta believe.
Yeah, you have to believe. When some people talk like that, they talk with so much belief that you can't.
That's what I mean.
And it's weird that you'll go an entire camp, like 12 weeks, thinking that person is going to beat that person, and then you look at their interviews just before the fight, and you'll be like, oh, I don't know. It's just an interview. It's just what they said. All of a sudden, you're like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about their last 10 fights, their careers. I don't know. I just don't know.
You just lose all sense of like logic. You're just like, no, they sold me. But and I have to say, there are some guys that do it. So Fury's one of those guys for me. So like going into the Fury Wilder second fight. Like everybody was picking Wilder, and I was just like, really, bro, especially in the States, and this is even the UK guys.
Even the
Adam Smith, I've got it on record. Adam Smith, all the UK like Sky Sports, BT, apart from like Warren, like, a lot of people were like Wilder, and the way they were saying it, I remember thinking to myself, what? Don't even remember the first fight? Because for me, I remember the first fight thinking, why does Wilder even want the rematch? So going into that, I'm thinking. Jesus, Wilder's gonna do it. So I just now, I'll be honest, by like see the Thursday, I was like, Wilder's just gonna knock him out.
Because you know, people respect power. People respect power. They know that it's 36 minutes. And they know that when you have got a big shot, one shot can do it, and over 36 minutes, I'll probably take that chance that it's going to land.
10 seconds, all you need is those 10 seconds.
But it's not always, in fact, it's quite rarely the case where, especially up at that level, the higher you go, usually the less knockouts there are because they're just slightly better fighters. But
I agree with you, especially like heavyweight, even though they're heavy-handed, they're bigger punches, I think it is like, for me, the most recent one really is Povetkin White. Before that, there haven't been tons where you're just like, the guy's totally dominating, and then one shot he gets. It's only Wilder that seems to have that sort of like trend. Look at the Ortiz fights. So but with Usyk, going back to Usyk now, how do you go, and I'll start you, Dan, how do you think he's going to fare against the top 3? If we were to say
I think he'll struggle with someone who has the speed advantage. Chisora is the perfect entry into the heavyweight division. Cool. But you're going to get people now that are bigger, not necessarily heavier, but faster, more powerful as well in terms of single punches and stuff like that. So against someone like AJ, I'll go straight for AJ. I think he would struggle with the size and genuine power, as in that difference. And you won't necessarily now have speed of foot, speed of hand over him. I think that's where they struggle. And if I was a heavyweight, if I was a heavyweight and I was one of those the top ones fighting against Usyk, I would be saying I'm gonna go and put it on him. I'm gonna go put it on him and make him. I know he thinks well under pressure, but you can't. Not all the time. You know what I'm saying? When you know you're genuinely in danger, like you would be with an AJ, he wouldn't be as composed. But you can't let him start getting into his rhythm in round 4 because that's when you spin. That's when you're spun. You gotta get him early.
And what about Fury?
I think everyone needs to leave Fury alone right now. He's something else, man.
And I'm going to come back to that. Sam, what's your thoughts?
I think I'm similar to Dan this year. I agree that AJ, especially now this new kind of style that AJ's adopted, I think, and the athleticism, I don't think Usyk would be able to handle it. Dillian White versus Usyk would be quite interesting. Just purely based on how Dillian's quite an awkward heavyweight because he's not the biggest in the world. He's not the smallest, but he's just got that kind of. That's a good little matchup in terms of Usyk, and Usyk's the one that's moving. Dillian White's just going to come in with the left and just try and walk you down.
But he boxes better.
That's what I was going to say. He's got better technique.
Yeah, no, exactly. Who else is there now? Fury's just sky high right now. Like,
what about Luis Ortiz?
that would be a good test for him, though. I'll need to, but I want. Thing is, with these heavyweights, I want to see if Usyk's got the power to KO these guys.
Nah, I don't think he does.
So then he's not a heavyweight.
He's not, but a lot of people don't punch their weight.
Yeah.
But I look at, do you know what? When I look at stuff like that, I think of people like Paulie Malignaggi, who know everyone knows you can't punch.
Yes.
But to be a world champion at 147 or 140 or whatever it was, and not be able to punch means you're a master boxer.
Yeah.
And that's what Usyk is.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So for everything that everyone else has in terms of power, strength and all of that, he has that master boxer thing over them.
Yeah.
Maybe with the exception of Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
But yeah, he doesn't have the. I don't think he has the power to trouble fighters like that because his shots they're like short, quick, bam, bam, bam. Like they're not.
I don't say tippy tappy, but they're kind of just like damn, and they're point scoring, so you know he's winning the round.
Yeah.
Not necessarily stopping you or slowing you down. For me, I think with another name I want to throw in, it's like the Dubois, the Joe Joyces of this world. I know he's beating Joe Joyce in the amateurs, but again, I just think if those guys now start punching him, how is he going to react if they can land?
I think he'll deal with Joe Joyce okay.
Yeah.
I just think Joe Joyce has a similar makeup to Chisora in the sense that he's slow, plods, and can punch, but he sees shots too well, Usyk. I think he'll deal with those kind of fighters. It's the faster ones. Maybe not a Dubois, because Dubois is technically very good.
He is.
He is.
But somebody like that, anyone who's got slow feet and hasn't got fast hands, you're probably not beating Usyk. Don't matter how much you weigh.
That's fair point.
Yeah, true.
And I think you've got to have that, like you're saying, it's those things. You've got to do, if it's the weight, if it's the speed, if it's the power, or the intelligence, I think you've got to be able to have more than those. In those four things, I think you've got to have 3 of them over him. I think if he can, obviously weight is quite rare, but if he's got the speed over you, I think you're going to have problems. I think if he's got the power over you again, I think there's as a combination, it's a problem. But I think with Joshua, I can just visually see, even if he's got a high guard, I could actually see Joshua's punching through him.
Yeah.
I just don't think he will be able to run around. I'll say run, but it is movement. I just don't think he'll be able to escape him. It's same with Fury. Because Fury now, under Kronk, for me, he's a bit of a monster.
Yeah, forget it.
Like, even when you see him in the gym.
Look how he's training.
Bro, it's that Kronk gym, bro. As soon as you go there, everything is straight and aggressive now. Like, forget everything you've learnt. We'll keep some of it, but we're giving you this.
Adding on like 50%.
That's why I think Don Charles' son has been really close with Fury. I think he's going to be. He's the next kind of this new breed, the Lawals and all that. But he's coming to take over, man. He's not.
I mean, I think it'll be tough because again, it's the heavyweights. There's quite a lot of them. But I would say I agree with what you're saying about this style that he's got. Everything now is with a lot more purpose with Fury, and I think he's going to be, even for Joshua, I think it's going to be a tough ask now because he's got the skill set. He can do southpaw, orthodox, but now he's got a bit of real venom in his punches, and you're like,
it's not even the venom. I think it's the venom in his attitude. So fighting Fury before, it didn't really matter how good you were. He was prepared to take the back foot. And pick you off, and then wait till he softens you up, and then take you out of there. Whereas now he's kind of stepping onto you and saying, "Come on, like I will counter punch you." I think that's the nastiest type of boxer. It's the old kind of Golovkin style where I'm looking to counter punch you on the front foot. It's an absolute nightmare to fight against because they're walking into your space. You've now got a decision to make. You have to punch there, and if you don't punch, they punch. And if you do punch, they counter. Like it's a nightmare style. Like it's a nightmare style.
I mean, that's a fair point. So moving on, before we go on talking the other subjects, Tank Davis took on Santa Cruz last night. Channel 5 getting involved with the boxing.
Shout out to Channel 5.
Shout out, they did us all a favour.
Hold on, was that on Channel 5?
Yeah, bro. What's not? That's how I message you. And you know what the worst thing was?
I know.
Yeah, I know.
Showtime, I thought. Where am I? I'm gonna have to stream
They
this
put in a
somehow.
bid for the rights quite late. I heard.
Yeah, but the thing is, Mayweather was like, yeah, he had to do it for the UK fans or whatever, and even though he says no on that, I have to say Tank's got a bit of a UK fan, because don't forget he came over here to fight Walsh. But yeah, that was on Channel 5, so that's great for you.
There was all Fran beer in the
Yeah,
I remember that. That was mad. Yeah.
But I'll tell you something random. That day, this is when I knew Gypsies don't play, because that day it was in the Stratfords, one of these new arenas in Stratford, the Box Park. Wherever Joyce fought. And then, so I was outside, and then Sean Porter was in the country for that fight, because it was leading up to the Spence Garcia, Spence Jr. versus Brook. So he's outside, and Kenny Porter's there, Sean Porter's died. So obviously, Americans, they got a different kind of swag, but they're like full suited out, and like the shirts are like this, and they got their jewelry. And bro, I'm telling you, like the Gypsy guys just walking around looking at them, just making these comments, like just ready to put it on these guys. And I was like, oi, these guys, they don't care. I'm like, they don't realise he's a former world champion boxer.
They don't care.
They don't care. They just think you're supporting Tank Davis and he's against our guy.
Yeah.
Like the tension was just mental.
Richards Ball.
Who?
Craig Richards versus Ball. Remember that?
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
we all ringside for that, and all these guys were like, "You supporting Jake?" We're like, "Yeah."
Those guys are different level. But no. So with Tank Davis taking on Santa Cruz, I mean, going into this fight, I think styles-wise, two great styles, right? One guy throws tons of punches, the other one's a knockout artist. I mean, you've seen the highlights. Let me get your thoughts, Dan. I'll start with you. Give me your thoughts on the fight.
I thought the fight was sick, man. I thought it gelled fast.
Yeah.
And Tank let everyone know first 15 seconds, you jab, I'm whipping this uppercut. And that was my first observation. I was just like, whoa, he wants to hurt him. Like, now.
Yeah.
And then obviously Leo's a top fighter. I've always loved Leo, but Leo's style is kind of everything straight. Maybe an uppercut, but it's bam, it's 10 shots. It's
like
10 shots.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
But so he wasn't having as much joy. He was still having joy.
But this is Tank, you feel?
No, yeah, I think Leo was having some joy,
yes,
but not damaged joy. Do you know what I'm saying? Maybe landing a couple of shots, but it was not really bothering Tank. But Leo's worried about Tank's power.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's come from 122 anyway. He shouldn't even really be at 135.
Yeah.
I mean, you're fighting a killer at 135.
Yeah.
But he's a proper fighter and he has a proper story and like, even though Tank's my guy, like I think Mayweather's actually found the next Mayweather with Tank. But I thought the fight was sick all the way through. And then Tank just had enough.
Yeah.
Tank said, I'm shutting up, walking it down. I don't care what goes on the gloves. I don't care. I'm waiting and I'll find the perfect spot. And he just got it, slipped it, uppercut. Good night, Vienna. Like, it was mad.
Oh, unbelievable, man. I thought he needed to. I love Tank. Like, I really do think he's such a talent from when we saw him against the DeGale Jack card. But my thing is with him, I just think, is he disciplined? Is he talented? Because, you hear all this stuff about him outside the ring, hear about him drinking, how about Asian bros, like, who is this guy? Really? Yeah, exactly. And then this made me realise that, you know what? He's here. He's here. He's really about it. He's that level of talent. He's that. It was so calculated what he did. He just did not care. He was like, I'm throwing it, but I know I'm going to catch you.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to catch you. When he kept trying to whip it, I was thinking, he wants to make a statement, especially in lockdown. Especially in the boxing scene now, every fighter's got that bit more scrutiny. Yeah. Everyone's actually watching it that bit more and seeing that. Is he really this guy he says he is? Is he really about it? And then
a bit more pressure.
Listen, he's Teofimo who? That's what I said.
Yeah. I mean, but going into this, I mean, especially from the weigh-in. The weigh-in's always a big thing, especially with Davis because he's missed weight a couple of times. And I was looking at Santa Cruz and I was like, he's in good shape. He's got the height, he's got the reach, and he's 100% got the punch output. So I was thinking, boy, this is going to be problems. And I think as you said, I thought it was a sick fight, but I think Davis was definitely losing rounds, but I think he didn't care because his ultimate game plan was, I'm going to create this opening and I'm going to land this shot. And, coming in dressed in like a Mexican, I love that. Again, he's taken for Mayweather. This time you could see Mayweather was around heavily. I think he needed that because you spoke about his ill discipline. I think that's been there, unfortunately, for quite a while now. Since he won the world title on that DeGale Jack fight, like he's just been... he's either, if it's not drinking, he got arrested for something with his missus, again he's lost titles because of the scales. But this time I was impressed with how he made the weight. I think he made the weight perfectly.
It was about the box rule.
It was always in sweatsuits, which was a two, but he probably needed it, right? Because he must be eating cheeseburgers on the weekend. But I think for me, what I was really impressed with was just like his ability to adjust throughout the fight. Because there were times where Santa Cruz was getting 2 or 3 punches off on him, but he didn't get phased. And mentally, I was thinking, I'll be honest, I was thinking this is how you might lose the fight. Because you're just losing rounds. But he just kept calm, like made the adjustments. And as you said, we got into the sixth round, and he just dropped the shoulder, and then that was it. And that's one of them perfect knockouts, because you know when the guy's legs are gone. Sleep.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's crazy.
That was
is he going? Do you think he can be a pay-per-view star now? Moving on.
Still questions surrounding if he's a pay-per-view star.
Yeah.
For me, I'd like to see what the numbers were.
Yeah.
Like, we've got to wait for the numbers to come in first to see. But also, you've got Mayweather behind you, and if Mayweather's putting you on, like, I haven't seen Mayweather push someone like this.
He knows.
Who's the last fight? Who's the last fight we've seen Mayweather push? Because that whole kind of the money team, but he didn't really push Badou Jack like the way he's always his hype man. Like you know, like he's trying to Don King him. Like you know what I'm saying? Like since I've seen that now, I do believe he will do numbers. But I think he's gonna start telling Davis to start calling out these UK guys, these different guys to start getting in these territories and start doing how he did, like with the Ricky Hatton fight, with the whole. He's gonna start be doing a lot more gimmicks now. I feel he's gonna be trolling a lot more, just building up the attention, and you know, it's just interesting to see what he's going to do with the modern day digitals. Because back then, when Mayweather was doing that, back in like 2007 and all that, there was no modern day digital content. So now it's
he actually is the. For me, I've always said that. I think Mayweather so far is the only person I've ever seen beat boxing in terms of he got out with all the money. Kept his own, kept his faculties. Didn't, you see what I'm saying? Like, didn't get mashed up. Probably took 20 clean shots in his whole career. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, usually boxing is such a taxing sport that it takes something big from you.
And also, as soon as the fighter retires, and I'm no disrespectful, but you look at the likes of George Groves, Tony Billy, as soon as they retire, even Tim Bradley, like everything just comes on the weight, the face.
Because the body's so used to having to.
Right?
Yeah, it's so used to having to train like that.
Yeah,
so just looks good, man.
He just looks
Mayweather's different, but he's also obsessed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So
you've got to be at that.
And he's now put his obsession. It's going to be so good for Tank because Mayweather was more talented than everyone, but he also worked harder than everyone. That's you know what I'm saying? So if you that combination is unbeatable.
It's unbeatable.
When you've got someone that good.
Yes.
And remember, Tank's just got a natural bad attitude as well. That helps.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like a bad attitude, mad work ethic. Then I don't see anyone stopping him, and then he'll just do the Floyd thing. Floyd was quite clever with who he fought and when he fought them because he didn't like fighting Americans much. He kind of got not backed into a corner with Mosley, but he took the Mosley, and by then he was big money made anyway, so it doesn't matter who he fights. But he did a lot of like globetrotting in sense of fighting people with entire countries and nations behind them. Fought Mexicans and made it so that it's the whole of Mexico versus me. Pay-per-view numbers going through the roof. He was fighting Hatton, UK pay-per-view numbers going through the roof.
Exactly.
I'm not sure if
even if you go back to the Gatti, I know he's American, but it's that Irish community.
Exactly. De La Hoya, same thing. The Golden Boy. But I'm not sure if Gervonta Davis has as many dance partners as that in terms of profile yet. He's got Ryan Garcia, who's a big one.
Teofimo Lopez.
Yeah, but I'm not sure how people. You know the boxing world, like we know all of these lot, and we'll watch these fights. I'm talking about the casuals.
Yeah, that's a good
Mayweather was very good at fighting people who the casuals are going to grip towards. He also had the all access, the 24/7. You can sell the fight over these 4 weeks.
The casuals hate him as well, right?
Exactly. Gervonta Davis is going to need to do something to become a pay-per-view star. You need to have ridiculous amounts of haters. First thing, that's the first thing. Like you wanna, if you
gotta have that all that love, but it's the hate.
You gotta have people who are only watching for you to lose.
So, I think he'll get. The thing is, I think he can. That's not going to be so hard, especially in America. I think he'll get that. Like, I think if the next fight is going to be key, because I would say I don't think he's a pay-per-view star yet. Because I think we have to remember this was actually his first pay-per-view anyway. I think he's done a good job. I think he is an exciting fighter to watch. But it's like you said, it's for fans that like him. I think it's who his next opponent is that he's going to say, well, is he going to be able to like generate enough interest? And also, I don't think he, and that probably sounds bad, but he doesn't articulate himself as well as he probably should do. But he needs to speak up a bit more.
He doesn't.
Because even in these all accesses, like Mayweather was front and center.
Like Mayweather's that guy.
That guy, he's always in the jet.
guy.
He was in the jet, like,
That's it.
No, money,
I
man.
tell you.
I love it though, because it's just like.
But he's getting money, he gets it, and he'll do. Mayweather's the perfect self promoter anyway. So he'll get Tank to a certain level, but then Tank needs to take it.
And that's what I mean.
The passing of the baton.
Exactly.
But yeah, at 135, I'm just not really sure how. As in, for example, there's big fights there, 100%. But I'm talking big fights with big money. We're forgetting how much money Mayweather was making.
Yeah.
Like, and I look at like fights that I was so excited about. I remember being so excited, about Rigondao versus Lenore Dene.
Oh, okay.
Big fight. Do you think anyone else knows about that fight other than boxing fans? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a huge fight though.
Even
you know what I'm saying? It's the
Ward
biggest in the division. Yeah.
Bro, Ward Kovalev was
I was
crazy.
for that.
But no, this is what I'm
No one
saying.
was talking about
Exactly.
So I 100%.
There's certain
that,
brands, so that's why I say Ryan Garcia is probably the bigger one because he's got so many followers on Instagram,
and all
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He's gonna take his fans, bro.
Yeah.
I think he should. But who, for him to for Tank to be big in the UK, who does he need to take out?
I think
135.
probably Lopez. I think if he takes out, if he fought with Lopez and beats him, Devin Haney maybe, but Devin Haney's kind of like Marmite at the moment. People know there's talent there, but nothing's.
He's got to hope Eddie starts making a big job, start calling out Tank. I think he needs.
But who's on?
Yeah, but I'm saying who else at 135 could he fight that is going to get him a big look over here?
And
who's 135?
I mean, look, Luke Campbell. Luke Campbell's fighting Ryan Garcia. So unless he fights Luke Campbell, so if Campbell beats
Luke Campbell's
Garcia,
not really a name like.
But that's what I'm saying.
Campbell was like I said, we all know.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
The UK know him better than we think. They don't speak about him as much. I don't think probably because he's not on a winning streak or doing anything special in the pros. But amateur gold.
Yeah. So he's got the backing.
He's got exactly, and he's been on Sky Sports enough times. Everyone knows who he is. If Ryan Garcia comes and blasts him out of here, it's a better look for Davis than if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. But I look at it and I think, boy, you know what? I think he's not far. I just think he's got a little while to go. Because I think he needs to. It's that talking element as well. I think. Outside of Canelo, a lot of your pay-per-view stars, they know how to speak. They can go into an interview. Even look, Joshua. When Joshua's being interviewed, he's not meek. Do you know what I mean? He might not say everything that's on his mind. He might not say what people want to hear, but he can speak. He can talk, and I think that's key. Yeah, he's an articulate guy. So I think that's interesting. So before we go and let you move on, Dan, I'm just going to say, what have you been working on? And for those that know you're involved with your boxing, obviously we met out in Saudi.
You know, it's just obviously we're doing weighed in with JD Sports and Matchroom. Obviously, everything's a bit weird at the moment because we're not doing the fights the same way.
Yeah.
So where we would usually be at a fight like yesterday's Usyk Chisora, we can't. But luckily we had Josh Denzel in the camp in the bubble doing stuff. So for a lot of it. We've been, I mean, for that first 4 weeks of
summer fight camp. Yes,
we did that from a remote location. So there's still stuff that's been going on. Obviously, the as it gets closer to the rest of the fights, there'll be more stuff. But I'm working with Boxer as well. So I've got to go into the bubble on Saturday or something like that. The fight's on Tuesday.
Yeah, what's that? Why?
It's a Tuesday. It's mad, isn't it? I don't know. It's a Tuesday night.
What platform?
It's on ITV and BT Sport.
Okay.
So I'll try and get me some live airtime. Get me, try and wear my suit.
Your household name, man.
That's
ITV,
it.
right?
It's true. It's true. There's lockdown as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe more people are going to be watching than there would usually be.
And what weights is this competition? Because usually Boxer, they do it at weight category.
So this is middleweight.
Yeah, middleweight.
Yeah.
Nice. Is Azazi on this? Derek or maybe?
I'm not sure. So there's fights as well as the tournament. So the tournament is at middleweight, but then you've also got Mikel
So he's the winner.
So they've signed him.
Yes.
So he's fighting There's Florian Marcoux.
Yeah, he's got big
Albanian
following. Yeah. In fact, it was one of the events that I saw him fight.
Yeah, Marcoux was beefing O'Hara Davis.
O'Hara Davis.
Yeah. Uncle Don trains him.
Exactly. So he's on the card. There's a few others on the card as well.
Sick.
But Boxer are basically trying to kick off a couple doors and get into this boxing thing more than just the tournaments, and they want to sign their fighters and push them in different directions. It's good, man, because look, boxing, do you remember how dead and buried it was 15 years ago? Not 15 years ago,
but even shorter than that, bro.
The production was terrible. I would watch it and be like, it's a bit still. Now you're hearing like, especially you see when the ring breaks, when they go to the callers, and you're hearing these sick tunes pumping, and people are like,
that Matchroom playlist is a madness.
That's what I'm saying.
Who's behind that?
Not me. That was
Was it you and JD?
but bro, even you said like 10, 15 years, I think then boxing UK was like, you get the tumbleweeds going through the floor. Like, that's what it was like. I think until, I know everyone says it, but it's true, until the Joshua started coming through, you would have just had Audley House and David Hay.
And Emir Khan.
Like once, but it was like one big fight a year.
Yeah.
Like Chisora, David Hay at Upton Park.
Yeah.
What else was there? Frost and Groves. That was really like the next level.
Now there's loads.
Now there's loads.
We're getting 4 in a month nowadays. Like we're getting big fights.
To the point where there's clashes. Like December 5th. Was it Fury or somebody's moved the Billy Joe Saunders fight?
Yeah.
They had to move that against the Frank Warren show because there was a clash. Like that shows you how much there is available.
It's good, man. Like there's a lot of people who are deciding they are taking this boxing thing seriously, and there's different broadcasters and there's different promotions, and it makes it good. Do you know what I don't love? The only thing I don't love about boxing is the Cold Wars.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I love how active everything is, and that there's so much stuff.
Yeah.
We just had Usyk, Chisora, and Tank, and next week we've got Dillian White.
I was gonna say in a couple of weeks it's Dillian White Povetkin.
Yeah.
What day?
Then you got Spence Garcia.
Hold on, what day is it today? 3 weeks. Oh yeah. In my head it was like next week.
But don't worry, that's lockdown. But you got Spence Garcia. Then Billy Joe Saunders, Martin Murray's not great, but he's getting out there.
Why is he fighting?
Yes. But then you think there's a plethora of guys that just aren't even fighting yet, that are still yet to get out there. Yeah. So I think from a boxer's perspective, to be fair, if there's any time to get into the sport, it's now. It is 100%.
Because
even if you're young,
it's shiny. It's shiny again. I remember it only used to be shiny when Mayweather fought in Vegas,
right?
And now it's shiny. Like Matchroom have done this thing where like they've made it. Obviously, like them along with Sky Sports, and it's sexy.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like you're watching the Chelsea United game, and then in the adverts you're seeing like a tantalising advert for tonight. For tonight's fight. You know what I'm saying? Like it's mad.
Big things.
Even now, like Ringside, you look years ago when we used to see not even years ago, but not too long ago when you'd go to the O2 or the small arenas or whatever, and you see people ringside who dressing all like bummy, like.
Yeah.
Like, you go ringside now, everyone's dressing, everyone's looking.
People are in the gods wearing suits, bro. Like people,
I'm saying. But now, like you see that they start to pan it on people. Like they took Matchroom took the American model. Like you see when Mayweather would come in, you'd see like Meat Mill and all that ringside.
Yeah.
They proper focus on all these guys like Mourinho and all these guys that pull up to fights and that.
Yeah. Because I think
it's good to see.
There's a big opportunity because I think in this country especially, it's football, and when the football's done, really everybody goes into the boxing. But like you said, there was just nothing to get people interested. I think now, like you've got different personalities as well. I think what I look forward to, and it sounds a bit random, but I look forward to seeing the gypsies start taking the boxing a bit seriously, because I'm telling you, there's a few people coming through the gypsy community or traveller community.
100%.
These guys can fight. Even
listen, you go to most amateur gyms, and the best fighters in there will all be from there. You know what I'm saying? So it's
I like training with them. Is it Ellie Hopkins?
Ellie Hopkins,
bro. She's a beast, man. Bro, I can see her giving Ramla Ali some trouble, bro.
She'll give a lot of guys.
I can see her giving. She comes across so soft, like bless her. She's probably like, I just learn how to bang and grew from there. I'm like, when I see her on the pads and that, I'm like, damn.
But it's crazy, man. And I'll tell you the good thing about Matchroom. Sorry, Boxer, because I'm going on about Matchroom a lot. You remember you used to get I hate watching cards where I feel like that I'm getting bumped for the undercard. recently we have had just good cards.
Yes.
Like, and you see, like, I'm excited for the Dillian White Povetkin fight because you never really even know what's going to happen there.
Yeah.
But that undercard as well is something else.
That's what I'm saying. They're starting to announce a few fights.
100%. So you got Dion Jumar, Chris Bellum-Smith.
Yes,
that fight is mental.
Yeah, that's going to be
mental.
That's going to be a good
Collar
fight.
Ben as well. Collar Ben versus
the Formella. But I wanted to focus on that because and like the reason, like you spoke about Dion Jumar and Chris Billum-Smith to a certain degree as well. Like if you look at, like they've been in the boxing game
ages,
but no real opportunities really got afforded to them, right? Whereas I think now it's like there's a lot of people that are like that maybe they were good as amateurs, and then all of a sudden, you know, if somebody doesn't like you, like if Eddie Hearn doesn't take a liking to you, okay, they don't promote you. So then you kind of like, what's going on with their career? Whereas now I feel as long as you can deliver in the ring, I think you've got a chance to just really take your boxing career off. So it feels like it's late, but actually it's not so late.
Yeah, exactly. It feels late, but essentially, you see, if you're not promoted by one of the big promotions,
and that's it.
That's the majority of boxers.
In the UK, if you're not promoted by Hearn,
exactly, you're in a bit of trouble. You know what I'm saying?
Serious trouble, man.
But what it means is that you just have to be good enough to fight yourself into mandatory positions. That's it. You know what I'm saying? And then at least you get your shot at the, you know what I'm saying, at the titles and all of that. So for everyone who's obviously like Eddie Hearn can't sign everyone, innit? Like he can't, and he has to look after his stable, and obviously it's difficult now because there's less money coming in, there's all of this kind of stuff, so
cutting out the journey.
That's been
the most positive thing about lockdown. So
exactly.
Dave Allen's still there. I know people will say, why'd you...
Bro, he sells tickets, man. He does crazy numbers.
I don't care. He's taking up spots.
Stupid.
Well, there's other guys that are talent that maybe they don't... Like, now you don't even need to sell tickets.
The thing is,
because no one's going to the video.
He's got...
But
he's got mad talent.
He is.
Dave Allen?
Yeah.
He's looking in good shape, bro.
No, but I'm saying, like, if you hear all the sparring stories, you hear like he puts it together all the time. But then, and to be honest, he's done it a couple of times on Fight Night.
He's always looked.
He's just
like he looks at the
but that's him. Like, it is a lackluster.
And then he'll hear interview, and then he's like, "Yeah, I just had to eat pizza and chicken through the cap," and I'm like, "Dude, like take this seriously."
When he fought Leroy Thomas, I remember Eddie was vexed. Eddie actually outed it. That's why I like Eddie. You know, he has no chill on camera. You know? He's like, Dave disappointed me because he's out taking pictures, meeting fans at the pub before an hour before he needs to start warming up and getting training in Sheffield, bro. This is on the Spence Brook undercard, and I thought, nah, this guy's a joke. But always seems to have another chance, or
because he likes it, which is face.
He's a likable character, but also in that Doncaster market, that kind of up north, that market there's a lot of guys that really support and back their own. So he's picked out very nice.
Because when I look at guys like Craig Richards, like I think he's got a decent following. I'm not saying he's going to be a world talent, but like he's a good fighter. Like he struggles to get Chris Congo. Again, we know Chris Congo. Like good guy. So it
is a problem, pretty much, unless you are a mandatory challenger right now, or a big name, or a small enough name. You're not getting on these shows because you're not. You know what I'm saying? In theory, these kind of nights with no fans are probably before were best for the kind of small hall fighters. But now we've realised this quarantine period and this no fan period is going to last for so long that we're having the big fighters in it now. Instead, it's just the new fight night.
And the thing is, like, because you're right what you're saying, because before you could load up a card, so the fight was starting at like 3 o'clock, and the man that's selling your ticket will be like, listen, I'm going to be on at 4:15, and you go in. Whereas I think now, like you're saying, it's condensed to just make the quality. But then aside from that, and you might think I'm a bit weird when I say this, but like women's boxing is coming into its own now as well. So now, some of their fixtures, they're having competitive fights. Do you know what I mean? Hannah Rankin, Savannah Marshall fought last night. Marshall kind of walked away with it, but it was a good fight to watch. Usually I'm a bit like...
We saw Ramla Ali.
I missed that one.
She fights well. I saw that. There was a question surround for me personally. There was questions, but she's kind of. I know she's under 258, but she kind of followed the Joshua model because when he won or went into the Olympics or whatever, it took a year. He took a year out before he went pro, and in that year she's been doing so many social justice reforms.
Do you know how many checks were on the table for him?
No, true. He got offered 50k to start to go pro, and he was like, bye. But Ramla's just. She's just got this big following, and I feel she's going to be one of the people to transcend women's boxing because you've got to understand, she's Muslim. She is. I think she's she's got a story. I think she's got a story behind her.
I don't want to say it in a bad way.
She was
done. An asylum seeker, and I think
she's got a really amazing like story, and also she's also on billboards, bro. She's doing like makeup and all that, and getting people to start
their team. Those guys are smart. Like,
come on, shout out to Will,
when they sign you.
all them guys.
It's not just
there's a lot of signings recently. They signed like how many people in the space of a few weeks? They announced it anyway. They signed a few guys.
They signed that guy would catch Ashraf, but then he lost.
Yeah, true.
So they signed him, and then like I'm not laughing at them. No, I'm saying like because that was a big thing, and then like he just lost, like he just didn't go for it, man. So listen, Dan, thank you very much for coming in and joining us. Appreciate us, Dan. I'm gonna say, do you want to shout out your handles so that our followers can follow you?
Yeah, Savage Dan 10. That's pretty much the only place.
And but last one, you've also got a boxing podcast. So just tell us that's supporting Boxer. So when's that out?
Do you know what? As you said, I was like, have I?
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's obviously making too much money, man.
I swear, man.
Yeah. It's called Mouthpiece.
Yeah.
Just started like not that long ago.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, a couple episodes. I'm not even sure if we've dropped the second episode yet. Probably. Yeah, but there's some good ones coming. There are. Yeah. We've stacked a few. There's some good ones coming.
Got some schedules. Yeah. Good. So like, looking forward to that. Yeah. We'll be supporting as always.
Yeah, more boxing, more everything, man. Like I'm about.
Going,
that's it. Yeah, me. Like hopefully everyone can get back in the stadium soon. And get back to flying abroad for fights. There's nothing better. I love going abroad for fights. That's my thing.
David.
So I'm saying. So the faster we can get this.
I was going to say where's the best, but for you in terms of travelling for boxing, what was the city rather than country that you enjoyed the most?
I did 3 last year. So I did LA for the KSI fight.
Oh, you did LA. LA's mad though.
LA was bang. I was staying in a beautiful hotel.
Around this time last year.
Yeah. It was December 9th.
Yeah.
And
December 9th was Joshua.
I was December 1st then. I
must have been November, the KSI fight.
Or was it? It was November 9th. No, it was November 1st. It was one of those dates anyway.
Yeah.
So, but then obviously the New York one was beautiful.
Yeah.
Obviously it was just the Joshua in New York. That was sick.
That was nuts.
That was sick because I happened to be out there at the same time as a lot of people were out there as well. It was a proper vibe.
The community all together.
Yeah.
Salute.
Yeah. So everyone's out there. Obviously, the thing that dampened that is the result.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it happened, bro. This is boxing, and it's too. This is. I think casual fans or just fans in general be like, "Oh, you got beat." Like, this is a fight, and you're fighting one of the best fighters in the world. Like, this is not a dead win for anyone. You see what I'm saying? Like, this a slip up is always on the cards.
There's a documentary coming out about
Saudi was strange.
Yeah.
Saudi was strange.
What do you think of Saudi, bro?
I liked it.
Well, I thought
no alcohol.
Yeah.
No alcohol. Even that, I was alright with that, bro. I think that was.
The no what? No, that's fine. Yeah.
How were the fans? What was the fans like?
But it was that's what it was. That was mad because you can tell.
Is it a?
It was pretty much. It was like it's not when you get an OT. It was like people just watching boxing rather than cheering and
And what I found was interesting was they react as much. They do react to what's going on in the ring. So I think I heard the most noise when Povetkin fought Hunter. Yeah, Hunter came out of the box,
and it was a racing.
Yeah, right.
Racing. Yeah,
and then exactly, and then. But what I found was interesting with the whole. And people that weren't there won't understand this. Like the whole area of where this fight was like it was in Thorpe Park.
Yeah.
So people weren't just going to watch the fight. Yeah. They were going to like go on some rides. Like the whole, I can't explain it.
They built a whole Thorpe Park.
It was a whole bit, isn't it? But you know what I mean? It wasn't just like, oh yeah, you'll take. Because at some point, even the bus, you was because all the royalty was there. Like the certain roads were locked off.
Yeah.
So you had to go to this central place and then jump on a bus, which took you to the place. Bro, it was.
Yeah. It's mad. It was actually madness.
Saudi's gonna. I think after this lockdown, Saudi's gonna be the space, man. Yeah, everyone's gonna go to Saudi.
Where did you stay then? I meant to ask you.
I stayed in the Holiday Inn. So I stayed next door.
Yes, just down the road from.
Yeah. There's only so many hotels there, isn't it? Yeah. So literally, I'm like next door to. I was next door to like AJ Sparring Partners.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. So next to the beat and all of these, man.
I remember coming down there.
But
actually stayed there as well.
Yeah. And it was just a mad. It was just a mad experience.
Well, I thought it was
It was a mad experience, like as in everything. Like I had to wait until afterwards to do like the weighed in thing in the ring or next to the ring. But even that, you see, like normally in the O2, after the last fight is done, you would not believe how fast they start packing down that ring.
Yeah.
That ring is down in 15 minutes. Yeah, like it's literally mad.
Everyone's
like,
ushering you out, get the hell out.
Whereas in Saudi, even AJ was in the ring like 90 minutes after the fight.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
it was a mad party,
it was
bro.
mad.
Because everybody was doing the selfies.
And also, security, where security normally can say that O2 everyone out. I think they were more careful because you don't know who's the Prince of Saudi here. You don't know who's everyone here is potentially royalty or rich billionaire that had something to do with this being
you cannot
tell the levels of the security though was also a bit mad because if you didn't have certain passes, like don't even try it. Like I'll do my thing. I always be like, I'm with. I'll just try it. In the States, in the UK, get away with it because the security might see your face. But over there, it's like military. Bro, like.
But because it's Saudi, I was walking with my back straight. I was not looking to make no mistakes out there.
You don't want to look because there's close protection out there for their royals.
And the thing was also there was all this rumours. So I don't know about you, but like when I was saying to people, I'm going to Saudi, I was a bit excited. And then about 2-3 weeks, people were like, why are you going to Saudi? Yeah, Saudi's a dangerous place, don't go there. And I'm like, what's... I've been places, But I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, no, that's dangerous. And then I think the 2 days or the day before the flight, someone sent me a message. Do you see what happened with Dean White? I said, what happened? He stopped somebody from opening
trying to jump out of the plane.
And I'm like,
he's a big guy, you know. Imagine someone just...
Bro, but then the thing is, I'm just thinking to myself, what's going on? Because I remember not too long ago, there was a whole thing with Ukraine, there was another aircraft that got down.
And someone slapped, I think someone slapped one of their oil
That's
rigs.
what I'm saying,
Like, it was going off. It was
so
going mad,
you're thinking... should I really be doing this? But for me, it was one of the best trips. LA, I loved LA as well. So I think, to be fair, we did the same because I did New York for Joshua Ruiz. Again, atmosphere was mad.
Sick.
Mad. And then I did LA, but I did it for Spencer versus Porter. Okay. So that was, a bit intense as well. I mean, that's when it was the first time in LA. And I was like, LA's different.
LA's mad.
LA's mad. Just me. So, but listen, like I said, thank you very much for coming on the show. Appreciate you. And we'll make sure we're checking out your podcast.
Love, bro.
Respect, man. Cheers, bro.
Are you doing enough?